I am going to let out the loudest, most piercing, shrill scream you can imagine. I am going to turn away from the monster and I'm going to run blindly through the darkened woods.
Hello, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave, and I will be your Keeper of Arcane Lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. So currently we're playing through the recently released campaign, A Time to Harvest, and you can get your own copy from chaosium.com. Last week we began the campaign with episode 1, which is now available over on the Chaosium YouTube. If you're enjoying this campaign, be sure to like the videos and leave us a comment. And if you're watching this on YouTube in the future and you'd like to watch the Chaos unfold unlive, we do stream every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific on the Chaosium Inc. Twitch channel. Now this week we're also doing something special. We are doing a PDF giveaway, and to explain that further, I'm going to hand it over to James. Jim, go ahead.
Absolutely, yes. So today, to celebrate the release of A Time to Harvest, we are doing a PDF giveaway of the book. It's a fantastic campaign, as you will all soon see as you watch through our live play of the adventure. To enter the giveaway, what you need to do is you need to type !harvest into chat and you will be entered. We're going to be doing a giveaway of 2 books today, but if you don't win, don't worry. There will be more opportunities to come back later on in the live play and to win more. So remember, type !harvest to enter the chat. If you're a subscriber, you will have some additional luck. And yeah, best of luck to you all. !harvest. Perfect. I will be posting reminders in text throughout this duration of the live play.
Thank you, Jackson.
Dave.
And the only other thing to note is that given that subscribers give weight, now is a perfect time if you could be considered subscribing. And also, if you have Amazon Prime, you do get a free subscription with that. So if it's been sitting there not doing anything, if it's burning a hole in your pocket, great time to put it to use. Now then, with that underway, let's jump into this evening's session. So first of all, I'd like to thank Roll20 and Sirenscape for being great tools which we use to improve our games. Now then, when we left off last week, we had been introduced to our 3 investigators, who are all Miskatonic University students, who have traveled to Cobb's Corners as part of a field trip in the Vermont Hills, where they are documenting local folklore and conducting geological surveys. Similar word, different meaning. We met a suite of NPCs, as well as getting a sort of a feel for the region before the characters all settled in for the evening. And that's where we're going to pick things up again. It is a warm and cloudless night. The moon fills the sky and illuminates an old and splintered farmhouse, which sits stark before tall maple trees surrounding the property. There are no lights on inside. Most of the sensible students have gone to bed as the night draws long. But there are still exceptions. Hidden behind an old barn, a group of students are sleepily chatting and drinking around the crackling embers of a bonfire. Let's meet 2 of them, beginning with Art.
Gonna make sure I unmute myself before I start talking.
Good trick.
Hi, I'm Art, and I am playing Sebastian McCarthy, one of the McCarthys at the Miskatonic University. Yeah, Sebastian is chilling around a fire, probably like feet up on a nearby log, just reclining and chatting amicably to Chaz. I think Seb is the kind of hedonist that enjoys a good drink but not to excess, because there's no point in enjoying yourself if the repercussions of that make the next day worse. So he's had a couple of drinks, but is pretty much just here for the conversation and the like late night fireside chill.
Yeah, you drink socially. You also brought some nicer liquor than the smuggled in hooch that Chaz and his goons, I guess is a word for it, had brought in, with the intent of sort of getting friendlier with the rest of the group. How do you think that went overall? Are you closer with these people or still pending?
I think Seb is as close to these people as he gets to with anyone, which is to say, everyone can be like, hey, Seb, he's a nice guy, he's real friendly, unless unless you disagree with him one too many times. Like, he's a nice guy. Do you know much about him? Nah, but he seems nice. He seems cool.
Seems a good sort.
Friendly. So, surface level. Surface
I
level.
dig it. So one of the other students that you'd begun to get a little closer with was Jackson's character,
Yeah.
Chaz.
Chaz Dedrick, football star in the making, and everybody knows it, or they will soon, who has passed the evening seeing exactly how much liquor he can drink in stark comparison to Sebastian, I think. And then following that, doing all sorts of stunts, probably threw the pigskin around a bit before it went tumbling into the blackness and lost forever. And then was seeing how many logs he could jump over, how burnt of a hot dog he could eat as they're roasting it over the fire. Living life to the fullest, you know. This is great. This is the best way to spend a summer out in the woods in the dark.
Had a great time. You've terrorized some other students, having a drink, mucking
Yeah.
about.
That's right.
It's funny you say chucking a football into the darkness and leaving it there, because there's other students who don't react the same. Jamie.
Yes. I'm in a little bit of a bad situation here. I'm playing Katie Wilkes, and I am a nerd, the biggest nerd that ever walked the corridors of the Miskatonic University. I like maths. I like people, but I can't really get along with them. I try, I do, and my twin is just so much cooler than me. But where we left off, I wasn't in a great place. I was standing alone in the woods, was I not?
Mm-hmm. You had walked out into the woods barefoot beneath the trees, and you had seen something out there. But we'll come back to that. First, I want to jump back to Seb and Chaz. So you teased a little bit what you guys have gotten up to, but you spent several hours hanging out around this campfire, drinking and talking. Between the two of you, what did you get up to? How did these last few hours pass? You were in the company of Harry Higgins, the Irish fella who's very big on like sort of talking, and he was telling ghost stories and things throughout the evening. You were also with Roderick Block and Louis Gibbons, two others of the crew who were more sort of like, joining Chaz in doing stupid feats or listening to the stories or just generally drinking to excess. And William Noakes was also with you, the sort of friendly farmer type, who has since retired for the evening a couple hours ago. So what kind of stuff did you guys get up to?
I think an excellent judge of Chaz thinks an excellent judge of character is how hard you can throw the pigskin.
Yep.
So yeah, let's have a game of catch.
Yeah, okay.
Sebastian, if he would oblige me.
Oh, of course.
All right.
I'm not one for team sports, but we'll see how we go.
Perfect way to determine character.
Is this
Absolutely.
Is this a throw test, Jackson?
Yeah, how far can you throw that thing?
Oh, I mean, my throw is base, so not very, but...
Jazz, you want to show us how it's done?
I will, as long as your offer to rejig our character sheet slightly still stands.
Yeah. still
I
finding.
didn't think of that.
So blatantly fishing for it and realizing you didn't
Yeah.
actually have the points to back it up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, there we go. Yeah, so my throw is 45. That's pretty good.
Nice.
Here we go. Boom. That's how it's
good.
done.
Yeah, so you sort of toss it back and forth. Sebastian's enjoying like talking with you, and it's stuff you can throw it back and forth. You can catch it, pass it to the next person, and keep the conversation kind of flowing forward. Seb, you also mentioned that you're not drinking to excess, but Chaz, you reckon you might be?
Oh yeah.
Okay then, so as we catch back up to the present, it's something like 2 a.m. or so. The rest are sort of like lying about, just talking idly, thinking about tomorrow and considering going to bed. Chaz, can you please give me a constitution roll?
But you'd never ask. 70. I'll be fine. I am not fine.
Do you
I
wanna
could spend
do you wanna
1 point of luck. I don't think I will.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So Chaz, you are properly inebriated. That's going to have two effects. One, you are immune to any sanity penalties of 2 or lower. But that means if it's 3, you take all 3. It doesn't reduce it. You're just immune.
Gotcha.
And additionally, you have a penalty dice on all skill checks until you sober up. So having
I
a
am
couple
for
of
that.
which will take a few hours. So having a couple of shots of hooch and things, sitting around and properly feeling it at this point. From the fire, Louis Gibbons, the white stoner-looking fellow, his bow tie untucked and his shirt tossed into the dirt so he can lounge across it, suddenly stops his talking and like looks out in the woods and goes, "Hey, did anyone hear anything?" And we're gonna go over to Katie. Jim, as you walked out under the trees, you eventually found a spot where moonlight was filtering down and caught a silhouette of a person. They're wearing a large overcoat, and they had a wide hat that stopped you from being able to see any of their features until they noticed you. When they looked up, you saw that it caught very white skin that hung loosely around the knitted flesh and bone, and they were a pallid face. I need you to immediately make a sanity roll, and then we're going to go from there.
Fantastic. I'd like to mention quickly that I thought that I'd have my character do sort of a little bit of a wander, just for a little bit of spooky moment. But then I went and did something silly. I went and made an extreme success based on an extreme success from previously, and it's led me here.
Oh, you found something, so that's good.
I have found something, certainly. Here we here we go. All right, sanity test coming up. A hard success.
That's good.
Ooh,
Okay.
very nice.
You are going to take none. As you see this thing, it turns and notices you. You're able to keep your sanity in check. You're going to take no penalties. But as it notices you, it stops, standing dead still, turns, shifts its head slightly, and as it looks towards you, you begin to hear this that fills your ears and the surrounding area. Something begins to clutch at your heart, and as it races thundering, you have a moment to act before we're going to dexterity order. What do you do?
I am going to let out the loudest, most piercing, shrill scream you can imagine. I am going to turn away from the monster, and I'm going to run blindly through the darkened woods.
Stumbling, scratches. Okay, Katie lets out a shrill scream, which is muffled by the trees around it. The figure doesn't seem to move, but as you turn, you find your feet are slow to act. Something is gripping at your heart, and as if there's a rope lashed around it, it pulls you back towards the figure. We are going to run everything through here as a chase, so I need everyone to make a constitution roll to see how things are handled. And I've got a chase set up that we will run through. So can everyone please make a con roll? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good.
Chaz!
Nope, I'm going to take the penalty die, I imagine.
Okay, so that is a
right?
success though. Yep.
Still a success.
All right, so success from
success.
everyone.
Hard success from Seb.
Okay, nice. Everyone that succeeded will just run at straight. So no modifiers. And let me make one quick roll.
He's drunk, but he's fast.
Okay. All right. Acting first on initiative 60 is Seb. Sebastian, can you please give me a listen roll?
Oh no! Hear me! Come on, hear me!
You've heard them. This is honing in and seeing if you can pick where they're coming from.
Also, huge thanks to Author Bud, by the way.
Eat it.
That is so good. Okay. So Louis leans up and says, "Does anyone hear that?" And then doesn't really pick it in. Seb, your ears prick as filtering through the pine needles and things, you hear this shrill, tenuous scream, which is abruptly cut off. You have a pinpointed direction, and you also are certain that it's either Katie or Clarissa, and you're pretty sure it's Katie. What do you do?
I will stand up abruptly.
Yep.
Look at Chaz, who is sort of the only one who's semi-conscious at this point, and is like, Katie's in trouble.
What? No, she went back inside.
That way.
She?
Come on. Gibbons, if you're functional, come with.
Gibbons
I'm gonna-
tries to like pull himself up, but they're pretty out of it. He gets up and he's beginning to like gather things and walk over towards it, but they're moving slowly, and you know that you need to run. If someone's screaming, this is urgent. All right, so Seb
All right.
hauls up and begins to take off at pace. So given that you are all acting on, you have 8 move and Katie's only on 7, you have 2 things. So what happens is with a listen roll, you pick up on where she is and begin to charge out. You move through the trees and they're like slapping and grabbing at your clothing as you're rushing through them. The liquor is like giving you a bit of courage, but as you're moving through here, it's dark and you can't really see your way. Your feet are sliding in those like, I imagine like dress shoes underneath you, and you eventually like hit a tree, move around and continue charging forward, pinpointing your direction. Next to act is
Is it?
go
Would
ahead.
would we have had torches with us, given that we were out near a fire and we were gonna have to walk back through the dark?
It's a pretty
or-
short move back, so there's a very good chance you wouldn't. However, do you want to give me a luck roll to see if you had
Ooh.
a torch with
Okay.
you?
This is where art storing all of their luck comes. Oh my god!
That's pretty good. All right, yeah, you had a small like pocket torch with you, and as you click it on, you're running. You're doing that thing like as you're sprinting, the light is bobbing around you and swinging, casting shadows everywhere. You're just able to keep a track on the trail you're following, which is an old like deer track through it. And as you're rounding corners, every time you swing it across, you see a tree or something, and your heart lurches. You think it's either Katie or something else moving around in the darkness. You keep sprinting forward, and as we go back to Katie, you try to whirl around, but that humming, that buzzing fills your like ears and it begins to move through, seeping down towards your bones and your soul hidden inside it. Can you please make a power roll?
Yeah, let's give that a shot. All right. Okay, nope, that's a big old fail.
Okay. As you turn to
change your
move,
name.
Is this pushable?
this is not pushable, unfortunately. This is a combat reaction. So as you turn to move, you find you are stuck, standing dead still, as one step lurches forward, lands in the mud, and the thing begins to move towards you. You can't move. Your heart begins to race, and something begins to peer inside your mind. Earlier today, and suddenly you're in the memory, you were sitting in the diner talking to Jason Haggerty, and for a moment you can see him there, and you were asking him about, you know, his trees and the drawings that he'd done. You asked if you could see one of them, if they were any good, and he turned around an image of a tall, looming wood, which as you saw it, you realized was late at night. You look at the picture, and then when you look up, standing behind the counter where Anne Haggerty was, is this tall figure with the hat, coat, and the falling apart face. And suddenly you snap back from it, and again, you're back in the woods. You can't move, you can't scream anymore, and this thing is standing right in front of you. The humming fills your ears, and you are frozen. We now go to Chaz. Sebastian lurches off, charging into the trees, and soon the torchlight is just a little flickering thing in the distance, moving deeper into the forest. I need a listen roll to pinpoint. Otherwise, at this time, you could try and just follow Sebastian. What do you want to try and do?
That's what I'll do. If Sebastian's up for a late night jog through the woods, well, I'm faster than him, so I'm up for it.
Okay. What's your strategy? How are you going to go through this? Just sprinting blind?
Yeah, just following the light.
Okay, all right. Do you want to give me a dexterity roll as you move through the trees that begin to slap and catch at you? You're just trying to keep pace.
I will.
Oh.
Yep. Nope. I
Okay,
will not.
all right. You are following after Sebastian. However, as you're moving through, these trees are grabbing at you and things, and without a light to see the way, you're trying to sprint and just like barrel through things to like find the shortest path to meet up with Sebastian. You are going to take a D3 of damage. Moving through these, but you are matching pace. At this point, we return to Katie's turn. Katie, can you give me a power roll?
Absolutely. That is a success.
Okay. At this point, you see this thing or something is like pushing through your memories, beginning to filter through them. You find yourself for a moment, there's a flash, and you're in bed, looking over towards Clarissa and beginning to swing your legs out to stand and go investigate the trees. And then there's something outside the window. You wrench yourself from it again. Then for a moment, you're just boarding the bus, getting ready to depart for Cobb's Corners, but you lunge yourself and like heave yourself back into the present. And for a moment, you're able to act. What are you doing?
So this thing is right in front of me.
It's
I would
right in
like to
front
get
of you.
away from it. I would just like to tear off, unless I'm still frozen, unless I still
Nope,
can't
you can
move.
move. You can move.
Okay, I will scream again and run.
Okay, all right. You turn and begin to rush backwards. The thing doesn't appear to be moving after you, not at the moment at least. And soon you're flailing through bushes and things, thorny nettles, and just running back towards where you think the farmhouse is. But immediately you realize you could have been turned around. You don't know exactly where you are. Do you want to give me a navigation or a track roll or something similar, or do you have another skill you might suggest?
Let me have a look. I think though we're going to go with navigation or track. Yeah, let's go with a navigate check.
Okay, go for it.
As my instincts take over and I get a hard success.
Oh my god. Well done. Okay.
On a 10.
You swing around from the thing running straight away, and before you know it, you recognizing the path that you're moving through. You also see in the distance there is a torchlight bobbing somewhere, moving back and forth, but it's quite a ways away, and you're beginning to charge towards it. We move back to the top to Seb. Sebastian, what are you trying to do?
I'm continuing to run in the direction of the scream, what I heard. I'm trying to find Ms. Wilkes.
Okay. At this point, you go scrambling down the side of like a small embankment, and you can hear things breaking through the trees further up ahead. You pause for a moment, catching your breath, right yourself, and then go charging forward. Soon you find, though, there's a thick net of nettles and vines with sharp thorns all around them. At this point, you could spend the time to try and go around it. In the day, you're sure you'd find an easy passage, but this late at night, all you can see is this towering wall of vines. You could try like a jump or something to just clear through it. Otherwise, if you power forward, the risk is damage rather than prevented progress.
What is my jump? So what, I'd have to make a strength, or
Yep, I could
would
see
I have to
strength
make
for just
something
trying to
like
barrel through it.
or dexterity to try and like...
Probably more strength for this one.
Yeah, okay. Or jump, you said.
Yeah.
Well, my strength is better than my jump, so I guess I'm just going to try and push my way through it in the hope that I can get through quick enough without suffering.
Strength is going to have like more, like jump would be clearing it entirely. Strength is like just trying to jump through it. You might still take some damage regardless.
Okay.
But up to you.
No.
Okay. Can you please take a D3 of damage as you move through it? Vines and like thorns and things are catching at you, and it's almost as if it's actively trying to impede your progress. A large gash gets cut through the side. But as you get to this and get to the other side, you realize that whatever is running is actually nearby. Do you call out to them or anything? What are you doing as you're running for? Do you think you're pretty close at this point?
If I can hear something, I'm just gonna yell Ms. Wilkes. You know. So.
Okay.
Loudly, pretty loudly.
Katie, you've sprinted for a little bit, and then suddenly, from not too far away, somewhere out in the darkness, you catch a gleam of torchlight for a moment. Then there's rustling from inside a bush, and you hear someone calling Miss Wilkes. What do you do?
I'm going to tear towards that sound at top speed. That is salvation. And I'm going to scream, yes, help, help.
Okay, the two of you crash into one another, and Sebastian, as you like barrel into them and then push them back, your torchlight catches Katie's face for a moment, and it is just a look of terror. She's white. She's wearing like, actually, Katie, describe yourself, but I imagine like a disheveled dressing gown and things. What does Seb say?
Yeah, I think I was wearing like a nightgown or something like that, but I think it's been sort of torn and muddied as I went, so it's proper like Spectre kind of stuff. I'm wearing like this dirty white sort of dress that's got some tears around the arms and stuff, and I've got like mud and twigs in my hair.
Yeah, it just looks terrified. No shoes on, and her feet are like torn up from just like scrambling over rocks. She's also looking over her head, looking backwards from the way she came, but neither of you can see anything moving out in the darkness. After a moment or two, barreling through the same bush comes Chaz. Chaz, do you want to give me either a jump or a strength or something to navigate through, or are you just slowly taking your time? If so, you can just bypass the whole thing.
No, yeah, you got to charge.
Okay, all right.
Strength or jump, you say? Well, as I try to find where jump is. Oh, the alphabet, of course.
A useful system.
I'll go for strength.
Go for it.
With a penalty die, I imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
Success.
Take
Well
just
done.
1 point of damage as
Nice.
the two of you catch each other. Seb, you like hold Katie back and look over her. Then barreling through the bushes comes Chaz, and for a moment, the three of you are standing isolated in the dark. You're breathing heavily, and in the quiet for just a moment, Katie, you can still hear that humming just a little bit, but then it begins to almost peter out. Stage is yours.
What's the matter? What are we doing out here?
There was a man out there, and there was something wrong with him, and his face was melting, and he was chasing me. And
Miss Wilkes, you're safe now. We're gonna get back to the camp. You can tell us what happened. There was a man out there. Never mind. We need to get back. All right, you're safe now. We're here. All right.
What do you mean? We're still out here. We're not safe. There's a man wandering around here.
Jazz!
Out here. We gotta.
Dedrick, come on.
I'm sort of I start kind of like heaving like sobs, and I'll allow myself to be led back to the.
I will. Yeah. I don't think Seb has a jacket because that would have been left behind, but definitely like sort of carefully, like. Look, there's the space for Jesus, which is important, but there is also concern and like if I had a jacket, I would give it to you, but I don't. So I'll have to wait till we get back to camp for that one.
It's quite all right.
All right. Well, you start walking. I'll keep an eye out behind us. Just stay behind me, all right?
I will very happily do that. Hide between these two, glancing about and kind of gazing at the trees, which I presume are looming around me and sort of drifting and reminding me of that picture. Has my memory of the event inside the diner changed? When I think back to it, is that figure still there?
Thinking back to it now, it's like you're trying to reconcile two memories. For a moment, it's Anne, and then for a moment, that figure is there. It's definitely cemented itself into your conscious. And you did get the impression that things were going to change further if it had had the time to, but you were able to wrestle yourself free from its effect.
Whoa. Okay. That is really good. All right. Let's get out of here then. I will hurry back towards the house.
Okay. Sebastian leads you back through the woods, the little torchlight picking your way through the path. Katie, you're sort of like underneath Seb's arm and looking nervously around, but mostly just focused on getting home. Seb, you're focused on Katie. Chaz, you keep looking behind you.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
Do you want to give me a spot hidden roll?
I will at 25 with a penalty die. I shall not.
Okay. You're looking around. You can't see anything out here. There's nothing moving. The way that Katie came from, there's nothing chasing her. No sign of anything. And by the time you get back to the edge of the woods and break free, you're definitely not being followed or anything. You feel pretty safe. The three of you leave the edge of the trees and emerge back out by the fire. Gibbons and Block are standing near the edge, and Higgins is just emerging from the barn where he's gotten a large, like quite powerful torch from somewhere along the survey equipment, and Block is trying to put his shoes on. He's a little drunk, so he can't quite get the knots right. As the three of you come out, they come over as well. They're relieved to see Katie, but they're more confused than anything else. What are the three of you doing?
I need to... sorry, after you.
I think it is well past everyone's bedtime. Gentlemen, if you don't mind, I'm going to escort Miss Wilkes to bed. And I will go and pick up my jacket, put it around her shoulders, and walk with her towards the house. And sort of when we're a little bit away from the rest of the group, I will pull out the remains of my flask, and I will say, I'm not sure if you partake, Miss Wilkes, but if you want to knock the edge off, I'll hand her the flask.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I will take a sip, grimace, and hand it back to you. There was someone out there. Thank you. Thank you for finding me. I don't know what he was. There was something wrong with him. His face was changed, and he was, and the trees around, and I don't know why I was out there.
That sounds like an awful dream you must have had while sleepwalking, Miss Wilkes. Sometimes our minds can play tricks on us, yeah?
I think I like sort of bristle and then go. It's not. I wasn't, but then kind of pull back and go. Yeah,
I am
yeah.
attempting to try and give Miss Wilkes some kind of like thing to hold on to that reduces the pain of what just happened. Is
Totally.
what I'm
No,
trying to do.
I like it. And I think that, yeah, Katie's not like, not ready to sort of, it's kind of filling her entire mind. But I think she probably isn't in a state to appreciate the gesture now, but probably will in future. And she'll kind of nod. She's just so grateful to have been found and to have been saved. Stick very close to you until we get back. I think that you and I both have rooms on the second floor of the house.
Head up and yeah. You still have my jacket, by the way. I do not go to take that back from you. You can just so do what you will.
Okay, I think I walk in and then like don't realize I've taken the jacket after bidding you good night and kind of and then I'll just end up sort of going back to bed, and having a very, very fitful sleep and a dream filled with shimmering trees, I'm sure.
Yeah. As you get back to bed and like sit down on the edge of it, taking off the jacket and putting it to the side, you realize like everything you're wearing is like covered in mud and scratched. Your feet are blistered and bloody from where you just went running over rocks and stones. And by the time you get into bed, you're exhausted, but sleep takes a while to come. You keep on looking nervously over at the window, hoping not to see anything there, but unable to shake the feeling that you might. Eventually it will come, but it's restless. Seb and Chaz, is there anything further you do this evening?
Well, if those two are going back inside, back out at the campfire, which of my boys are still awake and around of Block Gibbons and Higgins?
They're all still awake. The sort of excitement of Katie coming back got them back up and moving. But at this point, Block like pulls out a small pocket watch, looks at it, and goes, "Man, we gotta get up in only a few hours. I reckon it's time to let's get some rest and kick this fire out. Do it again tomorrow."
Yeah, right. Here's the thing, boys. Things just got a little bit more interesting around here. Katie reckons she saw a man out there.
Like some kind of stalker?
Yeah, with a melty-off face. That's not the kind of guy we want hanging around school kids and the like. I think we keep our eyes peeled and we keep our ears peeled. See if we can't take him down.
The Catch a Predator starring Chaz Dedrick.
What exactly are you suggesting, Dedrick? Are you saying there's some sort of like a ghost guy moving around? Higgins' eyes light up at the eye of a ghost, and he seems really
serial killer, stalker, monster, Wendigo. Who can say? All I can say is whoever's wandering around out in the woods at this time of night probably got something to do with the missing students last year.
I reckon you might be onto something. Well,
yeah, I deduced that.
Real clever of you, Dedrick. You got an eye for it. So what do you reckon? Like taking shifts or something? Should we tell Blaine?
He just shut us down. I reckon we can handle this on our own.
All right, and I mean, if we do find out what happened to those last missing kids, I mean, look real good on the record, wouldn't it?
Not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right.
Well, he's got the advantage tonight because he's already seen us out there. So I think we put the fire out, we get to bed. But tomorrow night, it's gonna be a reckoning.
All right, Dedrick. Sure, that could be fun. What social skills do you have, Dedrick? How are you gonna assemble this posse?
I can intimidate. I can intimidate them into shape.
Yeah, do you want to try that? Kind of like put the fear of God in them?
While I'm slurring my words with a penalty die?
I would say don't take the penalty dice. They're also equally drunk. Okay.
That's a good point.
Do you want to...
If 7 points of luck will help me whip them into shape in the nights to come, I'll give that to you.
Okay, so just giving this some context. The three there, you're friendly with each of them. Block's like a football buddy. They take you like medium seriously. They they're not entirely sure how much of this story they believe. Higgins is very excited at the prospect of a ghost. He probably does believe a little bit too much, and he's very much willing to go on board. Gibbons is kind of hard to read. He just seems to be like happy to just hang out. But Block will follow you if you give him the point, and through him, you kind of have enough to be like, hey, let's keep an eye out on things. But until they see something for themselves, they're not going to necessarily believe it.
Yep, sold.
Okay.
7 points.
All right, you've got their interest. They go to kick out the fire, and the embers crumble underneath the dirt. And as they chuck a bucket of water on it, steam goes up. There's a couple of claps on the back, and people head to bed. Is there anything else anyone wants to do this evening?
I would like. Oh, sorry, please.
go
After
ahead.
you, Chaz. I would like to say that I kind of like. Yeah, sleep is a long time coming, and at some point, in the middle of the night, I will sit up again at the end of my bed. Clarissa appears to just be asleep, untroubled by the world, right?
When you came in, Clarissa stirred a little bit, like looked over and saw you, but then just seemed to like roll back over and face the wall and sleep again. She seemed, if anything, just a little bit miffed that you'd, come back in at some hour of the morning. But tired enough to dismiss it. She probably won't even remember it in the morning.
Fair enough. Okay, good. Well, I will go and I will sit down at the end of my bed. And before I go to sleep, I would like to take out one of my workbooks, and I would like to flip to a blank page and write at the top memories, and very clearly write down the moment in the diner as I remember it, the moment on the bus as I remember it, the moment on when I went to sort of like decided to go to Cobb's Corners. Everything that was touched by that strange encounter. And then just before I go to bed, I think a little bit more concerned, maybe, I'm going to flip the page and then I write down, I am Katie Wilkes, and I write down just like the basic facts about my life before closing the book and going to sleep.
It's a good idea. When you're writing down the memories, what would you say your objective is? Is it I can read these in future and remember what they are? Or is it try and figure out some connecting thread between all of them?
No, this is very much. I mean, if there is a connecting thread, I'm kind of in that sort of nerdy scholar archetype, so I might pick it up, and I'm happy to make a roll for it. But the idea that Katie has going into this is I need to solidify these memories. I don't think it's as much as I'm going to go back to these and read them later, but it's just I'm reinforcing that my memories are mine and no one can change them. Yeah.
I like it. So let's do two things. One, when you solidify Katie Wilkes down to a few words on a sheet of paper, what do they look like? What kind of like key details? What are your anchor points for you?
I think that it's probably I am Katie Wilkes. I am a student at the Miskatonic University. I love my family, my mother, my father, my sister. Despite our differences, I think I love her very dearly. I am going to be a great mathematician, and then I probably. Then there's probably like a final line which says, and I will remember who I am or something like that.
Awesome. I love it. Secondly, can you please give me an intelligence roll?
Sure.
Scaled success here.
Fumble. Well, not a fumble
quite,
because I have
'cause
over.
50.
Yeah. You know what? 18 points of luck. Could I push this?
You could
Stay up late into the night.
You could push this. Yeah, I think that's a good one. As you do this, you realize, you need like a light, and you need to be able to actually write down things and begin to draw threads between it. Pushing it will be losing the night, but if you succeed the push roll, you won't get the consequences.
Oh, I'm absolutely going to push this. Let's have a shot. All right. Hard success.
Okay. Just as you're getting to bed, this like thread takes you. And you swing about and begin to just like frantically scribble over a piece of paper. You begin to at first, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you seem like the sort of girl that's very organized and like has a lot of notes. So like when you're studying for things, you make flashcards and things, you do lists, you make columns and things. So you begin to work things out practically. You write down all the memories and begin to draw connections between them and try and figure out, what's the through thread here and what might connect it. What you realize, the connection that seems to be between each of them is a question: why are you here? And that extends both to Cobb's Corners and that particular spot on that particular night. Seemed to be it was trying to find an answer. and looking through your memories to get it.
Huh. Okay. I think the answer was I was interested in the trees based on the child's drawing, but I don't think that would probably have satisfied it, especially if I accidentally walked into a very special location of some sort. After sorting this out, I'm going to close my book, and I think after that, I'm able to get to sleep a little easier.
Okay. All right. So Katie retires. Seb or Chaz?
Seb is going to like get changed for bed, have a nip of the remains of his flask, and then is gonna like play around with the badge and have a think about all the stories his parents told him about some, the ghost stories of MU and of things in long distance past. I have a not base occult skill.
Hey.
It's not very high because it's not something that I'm obsessed with. But may I make an occult roll to see if I can
Absolutely may. This is just gonna be going off memory, so I might say contingent on further research, but you can give it a go.
Yeah, this is just like is there anything that peaks in Seb's
Is there a
mind?
thread you can pull? Go for it.
I only have 25. We'll see how this goes. Ooh, not a fumble,
Oof.
but nothing.
Okay. No, unfortunately, nothing immediate. There's plenty. If anything, it's there's too many things that could spot. You don't have enough information currently to narrow anything down.
And then I will go to sleep.
No worries. All right. Seb retires. Chaz, anything further?
Oh, satisfied that I've got my posse assembled.
Got
I
the
will
squad.
pass the heck out.
All right. You head down and crash on one of the pull-out cots. And all too soon, morning comes. So when all of you wake up, you were all very tired just from the last night's events, and the house is already humming into life. It's early because the truck with Harlow to load up the equipment is going to arrive at dawn, so it's probably 6:30 or so when people begin to stir awake. And it's a staggered thing. Some people get up immediately, others take a while to get moving. It is stinking hot, and the day looks like it's going to only get warmer throughout it. As you each wake, you can spot Gibbons is posted up in the kitchen, cooking up breakfast, eggs and things, and seems to be completely unaffected by any sort of hangover. Block and Higgins are still asleep and just pull their sort of covers over their heads a little bit more and will try to drown out the noise until they can crash a little bit further. Clarissa is posted up outside with a book and a coffee where she's reading and watching the sun begin to rise. Sebastian, when you wake up, Laszlo is standing in the center of your two rooms. He's found an ironing board from somewhere, and he's standing there in his jocks with his trousers laid out across it. He's got the dress shirt on, and he's quite crisply ironing everything into place. And Blaine is beginning to organize things. Yeah,
Can I be really obnoxious?
Oh yeah, of course. I'd expect
Great.
nothing less.
I will take one of the shirts that I have, knowing full well I may in fact lose this shirt, and throw it over the ironing board and be like, if you could do that too for me, that would be great. And then I'm gonna head downstairs.
What a power move.
As you put it there, he scoffs and he goes, I'm not your servant, McCarthy.
He will be saying it to my back as I walk out the door.
As the door slams shut, and he looks at it, looks just insulted, and will definitely not do the ironing. You head downstairs and join the others. Chaz
no
and Katie.
persuasion or credit rating or anything like that?
There is no way you can just throw something at this person and get him to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
It was no.
You're just irritating him, basically. Chaz and Katie, is there anything you want to do this morning?
Keeping my eyes shut for as long as possible.
Okay, yeah. Are you muted, Jim, sir?
Deary me, thank you. I come down ready for war. I'm not actual war, but the war of information. I am like as prim as possible. I've got all my books under my arm. I've got a satchel filled with everything that I could possibly need to like chart things down. I put my hair up so it doesn't get in my eyes. I'm like engaging, the full nerd fury that I possess. I'm gonna find out what that thing was outside, and I'm gonna get done with this geology stuff as quickly as possible, so that I can get to the real work that needs doing.
Awesome.
Nice.
You got your little kit. You're ready to go. Everyone gets a bit of breakfast that wants it, or they get a little bit of extra sleep. As time finds them. Eventually, Blaine gathers everyone and addresses the group. As he steps up, it's clear that he is very tired. He has bags under his eyes and clearly slept quite poorly. He stands there and he says, "All right, Harlow will be here any moment, so can Team 2 please go and get the equipment out and get it ready to load up. For Team 1, I want you all ready to depart, and once we get into Cobb's Corners, off the bus, and into town as quickly as possible. Today looks like it's going to be hot, so make sure everyone brings water, and we should be away and clear in let's call it 15 minutes. He then heads over to find Sebastian. As he approaches you, Seb, he's going to say, right, so we have some money set aside to get stories out of people as needed. Seb, you seem the most trustworthy of them, so I'm putting you in charge. He unfurls like a wallet or like a money clip, pulls out $20 in singles and passes them over to you. He says, "This is for stories." Am I clear?
Of course.
Okay. He like holds it for a moment as both of you are grabbing it, and then he releases.
I also like... So for anyone who's unaware what a credit rating of 50 gives you,
Oh,
$50
my.
a day spending money.
Oh, yeah.
So this is pocket change to Sebastian.
Oh my
who will
God.
happily just like put it in the inner like breast pocket of his coat. Yes, Seb is loaded
Pretty
through
wealthy.
association. Yeah, reputation and association. Not full wealth yet, because that comes with inheritance.
Yes. He also claps and he goes, are you going to want the phonograph and the camera today, or leave that for after you found a few stories that you want to document?
That is an excellent question. How hefty are those things?
Very.
Like,
And they've got
very?
like large safety cases because they need to be kept secure. They're fairly delicate instruments.
Right. I think today might be a meet and greet kind of day. Let's find out, who we can talk to for more information. We'll use shorthand for the notes today, but if there's anything specific that we want to take down, just get a feel for what everyone knows first. But thank you for asking.
No worries. All right, well, we can sort that out tomorrow. All right, so you get some of that together. Chaz, once you eventually get up, like right at the end, as most of the stuff's already been loaded or put away or whatever, you notice, you can hear people are beginning to gossip already about the events of last night. It's clearly like a well-known secret that Katie was found just stumbling around in the dark in the woods. People are like looking over at her. She's got like, hiking boots on and tall socks and stuff, so you can't see any of the scratches and things, but still people are talking. And as you're standing there, you hear Higgins retelling the story as best he can and basically painting her as, kind of like just mad and like that weird girl. So he's going like, yeah, I mean, we didn't even see her leaving, but like once she came back, she was all torn apart. I mean, she looked like a ghost coming out of the woods, and she was mumbling stuff, and she went out there without any like equipment or light or anything. So I mean, really, you have to wonder, is this the sort of person we want to trust out here where people have gone missing before? I mean, I'll just say I don't want to be out there alone with just me and her. Certainly not.
Well, I mean, here's what I think. I think it was a good thing I was out there, and so McCarthy was there as well. But it's a good thing I was there, and Katie wants to be the one to wander around the darkness. Well, that's just going to attract the kind of person we kind of bring down, right? I mean, students go missing last year. We want to put a stop to that. If there's a student who's trying to go missing this year, that gives us a good opportunity to find out who's responsible.
Are you talking like
think
a bait kind of situation?
I'm just saying keep an eye on her and see what happens. That's all I'm saying.
You can keep an eye on her. I'm just saying I'm not going to be left alone with her.
All right.
Okay.
Is this audible?
It is being repeated. So yes, you would hear someone talking about it. It's not right next to Katie, but everyone's talking about it.
If I may, I would have also liked to add, at some point in the morning, I would like to find both of these two and give them, now that I'm not in an acute sense of distress, a very prim and proper thank you. I really appreciate you finding me. Last night was very, very helpful. And I think it's quite genuinely heartfelt and complimentary. So I will pass that along to the two of you.
Seb is going to respond by saying, in a tone loud enough that the room could hear, should they choose to, I'm very glad to see that you are well recovered from that sleepwalking incident last night, Miss Wilkes. I have a cousin who's a somnambulist, and it does sometimes take it out of one, so...
Yes. Thank you very much. It's exhausting to manage on a day-to-day basis.
Well, glad you're all right. I would like to attempt to mitigate some of these rumors and persuade people that this was just a sleepwalking incident.
Okay. Going ahead and give me a persuade roll. I get the impression Chaz is very much not mitigating the rumors. He's kind of just rolling with them and happy to get a story. It's also, Chaz, it is kind of building up your... you're the guy that found her, according to your story, at least. And while Sebastian's just trying to muffle the whole thing, you're trying to just prioritize yourself in it.
I will say, I'm not trying to mitigate that she went out there and, we rescued her, just that she wasn't mad, she was asleep.
Yes. Okay. Give me a persuasion test. We are gonna scale this. Oof. Yeah, the rumor's kind of getting a life of its own. People are beginning to definitely talk a little bit behind Katie's back.
I'm doomed to be unpopular.
Can I make an intimidated check as I flash my bravado around and make sure I'm the hero of the evening?
Yeah, let's do that.
Can I'm pretty happy to acknowledge... Oh, okay, well, I think you're fine then. I was going to say, I'm pretty happy to acknowledge, I went over and thanked Chaz and was like, you're really great. Yeah, so you're bursting through the woods, and you really say, can I give Chaz a bonus die?
Do I
to
need
Chaz
it?
to build up his side of the story.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing it deliberately, but I think it just sort of happens as
it's working
to
out. Yeah. Take a bonus dice.
I'll have another go. 45. No, it's all right. I'll just keep it with regular success.
Definitely. Success. No worries. Okay. All right. The story's kind of beginning to build a little bit, and slowly it is definitely Chaz who went powering off without a torch into the darkness, and Sebastian that followed to try and assist. All right.
My reputation is based on more tangible things than heroism. It's based on the fact that my name is on a building.
My family's rich. I'll have
my family's not rich. They're next level.
They're not rich. They're wealthy. All right, everyone loads up on gear. Sorry, go ahead.
They aren't Laszlo new money.
Imagine. Everyone loads up the equipment, and after a bit, Harlow appears, the truck sliding into near the barn, and people begin to load up the equipment onto the back of it. The bus is started, and as people get towards it, they've all got water bottles and things, personal bags, and are ready to depart. As everyone gets onto the bus, you can spot Blaine briefly off to the side talking with Clarissa. He seems to have brought her out a coffee and an orange or something to make sure that she's gotten some food. And after she takes it and heads towards the bus, he stands at the entrance and says, before everyone boards, Miss Thurber has asked me if tomorrow being Sunday, an earlier trip could be made into town so that anyone who wishes can attend church in the morning. So if anyone is interested, please let me know by this evening, and we will arrange a trip to get in there and see how many, if we're going to need to take the bus or we can just arrange a car. So again, anyone who wants to go to church tomorrow morning, please let me know. And then people begin to filter food and take their spots.
I will immediately inform Blaine that I would like to go to church.
All right. As you come up, he's going to take. He greets you, Katie, and he says, "Okay, no worries, Miss Wilkes. It will be early, if that's all right."
That's quite all right. Because
we have to get in there and out of town, and I understand you haven't been sleeping too well.
Has everyone heard? I think my face looks genuinely just horribly crestfallen.
He goes, "It's all right. It's all right. It's not an issue. There's nothing against sleepwalking, and just so long as you're safe. Do you need to see the doctor?"
No, I'm okay. I think it was. I hope it was just a one-off. I'll maybe I'll go to bed in shoes.
All right. He says, if you need to see the doctor, just let me know, and we can swap you from Team 1 or Team 2 to Team 1 for a day. Just let me know, please. We want to make sure that everyone's safe and in good condition.
Upon hearing that, I think Katie kind of like tweaks for a minute. Team 1 is going into town where there are going to be records and books and things that she might be able to get her hands on. I think that hearing that is kind of a moment's hesitation. She'll go, I guess a visit to the doctors can't hurt.
Okay. Sorry. Do you want to go check him out today?
Yes. Maybe. I always in the best be safe,
Okay. All right. With that, then, he will talk with you and Clarissa, because your duties are going to be given to her temporarily. She'll do the documenting for the day and everything. And when you rejoin the bus, he's going to have you sit next to Sebastian and just say that you'll be going with that team for the day and introduce.
Oh no! Wait, today?
Yeah.
Means I'm the only one of us going to geology.
Geology. Yep.
I mean, I was going to be the only
done?
one of us going to record, so
Yeah,
one of us is getting
It's got to
split.
go one way or the
No,
other.
but not Chaz. Chaz was meant to play both teams, and now he's on his own. What have I done?
You could make a last minute swap as well.
No. If there's heavy lifting to be done, that's where he's gonna, because he's swole. He lifts, bro.
All right then. With that, everyone gets aboard the bus and begins to head down and into Cobb's Corners.
Quick question. What's going on between Blaine and Thurber?
Are you just asking me, or are you asking other people? Do you
I'm
want to make a psychology roll? Who are you looking at? Are you more, I guess just in general. Yeah, sure.
I'm looking
Blaine
at
and
Blaine and Clarissa.
Clarissa.
Oh.
Hoy!
Oh no!
Interesting.
That is
I'm
very
looking at
interesting.
it, but I'm not asking questions yet.
That's very interesting.
I am.
Maybe you give away that you're staring at them and they catch you.
Alternatively, I am happy to have like a penalty on a listen or a spot, like my next listen or spot hidden, because I'm kind of like focused on that and not anything else.
Yeah, I'm gonna pocket this one. As you look over at the two of them, Blaine passing over the fruit and having the quiet conversation, and Clarissa gets on the bus. Blaine looks up and sees you studying them quite closely. He blinks a little tiredly and heads onto the bus. Doesn't seem to make any thought of it, but we'll come back to it. Okay.
So it is. He noticed that I was looking.
And more may
Good.
come.
Very good.
Okay. All right. Everyone's aboard the bus, and as you begin to drive into Cobb's Corners, people are talking. Everyone's sort of excited. This is the first day of actual work and things, and they're kind of revved up. Those of you that were out late last night are pretty tired and beginning to feel it, but you did get a good, 4 or 5 hours or something, so you'll be okay. And I'm sure Chaz isn't afraid to have a cheeky nap when no one's really looking too closely.
Hey, we.
So that'll sort itself out. As you drive into town, it's about 8 a.m. or so. It is looking like it's going to be a very, very hot day. And as it's Saturday, it's the weekend. So kids are out in sort of like the square and things, playing and tearing about. The diner is doing a roaring trade as people come in and out of the doors getting ice creams and things, and just looking to basically enjoy the weekend. Team 1 begins to filter off the bus, getting down. And once again, that is going to be now Katie, Sebastian, as well as Trent, Noakes, Laszlo, and Gibbon. So the majority of the team are going to be staying in Cobb's Corners today. They're going to filter down, and everyone rallies around Sebastian nearby as the bus begins to close up just with enough time for Blaine to say, and we'll be back around 5 p.m., all right, to pick everyone up and take them back to the house. So meet us at the diner, okay? And then they begin to drive off, Harlow leading as they head north towards Broken Hill. Katie and Sebastian, you circle up as everyone else does. Laszlo is scoffing at any implication of your leadership, but he is present. Basically, the strategy is just go around and collect stories and everything. Trent doesn't say anything, but he would like to go to the library. Noakes is planning on just going door knocking from person to person and trying to gather stories that way. Laszlo is going to try the town hall and see if he can talk to someone really important. And Gibbons doesn't say anything, but just keeps looking over at the diner. And you get the impression he'd probably just stay there a bit. What do the two of you do? Where are you headed? And do you say anything to the team before they depart?
Have they all communicated where they want to go, with the exception of Gibbons, who's communicating non-verbally this morning?
It's pretty clear, yeah.
Yep. Seb makes absolutely no attempt to dissuade any of them from their chosen paths, and we'll look at Miss Wilkes and say, Miss Wilkes, I understand you're coming with us today to see the doctor.
Yes, but I actually feel a lot better. I've getting out some fresh air. I don't think it's necessary. Perhaps instead, I heard about a particularly interesting person to talk to. Just out of town, there appears to be a woman, and I'm so sorry, I actually have misplaced my
Agnes Bellwether.
Yes, Agnes
And Seb
Bellwether.
will say Agnes Bellwether because the deputy told us both.
That's right, Agnes Bellwether. Perhaps we could go together to speak to her.
That is certainly an idea. I had thought to talk to the doctor, actually, specifically as he was one of the other people mentioned. Dr. was it Owen Perry?
Perry, yep.
Alternatively, I had half a mind to go to the library and try and track down old copies of the Gazette. For reasons somewhat unrelated to the history of the town.
All good ideas. About how much time do we have, Dave, for today?
8
we'll be able to get a
until
few
5
things done.
p.m., so 9 hours or so.
And the trip to see Agnes, she's a little bit outside town, right? What's that? How long is that going to take?
Walking it would take you like half a day, so it's just not feasible. You'll have to get a lift. Even with a lift, it's probably an hour there and an hour back.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a pretty significant. So maybe we.
She's on like one of the other farms, like up towards the north.
I suspect when we go and see Ms. Bellwether, we may want to have the phonograph with us because I don't think we're making that trip twice. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, perhaps I'll spend some time in the library then. I can put together some information. I can track down a few old copies of the. Well, would you like to come with me and you can look for the Gazette yourself?
I'm very happy to, although I was planning on speaking to the doctor. Are you sure you don't wish to see him?
I'm fine. I think the library seems best for me. Yes, I think that'll do me just fine.
I think Mr. Trent ran off in that direction, so I'm sure the two of you could work together if you feel so confident.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Thank you again, Seb, and I'll see you back at back here this evening. And I'll toddle off.
My pleasure, Miss Wilkes. And I will head in the direction of... actually, I'm going to head in the direction of the sheriff's office first.
Okay. All right, so Seb's going to head to the sheriff's. Katie's going to the library. People begin to scatter, moving through the crowds. Not crowds, but people around, and making your way in different directions. Everything's going to sort of zoom out timescale-wise here, and we're going to do things in sort of like larger chunks. But you both make your way there. Meanwhile, Chaz, the bus is now significantly lighter as it begins to bounce up, and there's now only, the 4 of you, I think, with Katie swapping teams. And you begin to drive up further towards the north. Soon you get to a point where the road doesn't go any further and you turn off onto a smaller track Harlow's truck leads you higher and higher, but eventually the bus parks. Blaine hops off, and everyone shoulders their bags and begins to walk behind the truck as it heads deeper up and into the mountains towards Broken Hill. Blaine himself gets in the truck with Harlow. Actually, I tell a lie. Blaine walks up to the trucks, knows that there's a passenger seat, and he helps Clarissa to get inside and to take a seat where she sits in, and he comes back to the rest of you. He's not carrying a pack himself. He's not going to be staying up here, but he walks with the bulk as they make the ascent. You follow the truck. It's fairly rugged going, and it's stinking hot out here, so you're already beginning to like sweat through your undershirt and your jacket as you get higher up and towards the spot where you'll be digging. Eventually, the truck itself stops just next to a river, which winds down, and by this point, you're in the mountains. There is very little wildlife sounds, but the creek sort of bubbles down nearby, and there are like a wind that cuts through it semi-regularly. There's very little shelter except for a small overhang nearby, and clearly this is a location which was investigated previously. As everyone begins to unshoulder and unpack things, Blaine's going to say, all right, so we had some success here last year finding indigenous artifacts and things. So we are going to be continuing from here. I imagine you'll want to get your sections divided up today so that you can start digging intelligently. Clarissa, if you can document everything and make sure people are well tended to, we'll leave it there. If you have any questions, I'll be back sometime this afternoon. I'm going to head back into town and check in on the other team. Is everyone sorted?
Who else is here? Sorry, we've got Clarissa. Blaine's about to leave.
So you have Clarissa, Block, and Higgins are the three others that are with you. So there's only 4 people in this group.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, what are we looking for again? Just anything really. Anything interesting that's gonna look good. You know.
So Clarissa gets out a checklist and says, "We are going to be looking for any artifacts. We're also documenting mineral deposits, any sort of resource we can find around here. We have some tests we're supposed to run, and depending on what they pass, we will document them and pass them back to Professor Learmonth at the university."
Great. Well, yeah. Just let me know what heavy stuff needs moving from A to B, and it's going to happen.
All right. Well then, let's get started.
I'm really proving a credit to this team, hey? Yeah. Everyone sees me here. Everyone sees me lending a hand. So we're going to get this job done. Good hustle.
All right, an important man. And you loudly say that as Blaine heads back to the truck with all the gear unloaded and begins to depart. So he and Harlow head back down the path, and soon it's just the 4 of you left out here quite, deep in the Vermont hills. What they will do is roughly they will stake out like sections of line to divide the ground into a grid effectively, and then you will go through each section looking for any artifacts or signs of historical interest, and also any resources you find, so like ore and things like that, which you then have like chemistry sets which you can test to determine what they are, what quantity they're in, and I'm sure there's ways to check for like abundance, and based on that, this area probably has a lot of X, Y, or Z. In general, how do you make yourself useful? What are you trying to do?
Maybe not so much make useful, but sound like make useful. Because Chaz is here is trying to get double credits for both being on the Geology and Anthropology's teams. So we just got to, make sure everyone knows how helpful he's being. So moving heavy stuff, he's probably shouting out quite regularly, "Hey, I found something over here. It's a thing. Yeah, look at this. I found this. That's all on my own. Look at that arrowhead. I don't know, a bit of gold, some quartz over here. This turned out to be quite a profitable expedition. Good thing I was here. Hey."
How careful would you say you are with shaking through for very, don't want to miss anything detailed, or you just like dig deep, find the good stuff, claim that, and then move on to the next?
Gotta get through this quick because I'm gonna be on the story team tomorrow.
All right, awesome. I imagine you're also making sure that Clarissa's the one that sees you working hard, because she's kind of in charge of documenting everything.
Yeah, if she's got the clipboard, then gotta make sure my name's on that clipboard.
All right, perfect. for the most part, Clarissa is very hardworking, but is solo. Dog's here. She goes to like a single point and will work through it slowly over the day, and the others will come in and check in with her and, you know, say, hey, we found this. Can you note it down? Block has a fairly significant hangover. He's got a sort of hat pulled low down on his face. He's got his jacket popped, and he's like sitting cross-legged on the ground with a bottle of water and a shovel, very slowly working through a single section and wincing a little bit whenever anyone says something loud to him or the sun seems particularly hot. Higgins doesn't even seem to be pretending to work. He's also hungover, and he's found like a rock face nearby, which he's clambering up from it. And the top, he's like looking around, surveying the area, and he's saying like, wow, I mean, like, there's a whole lot of like trails around here. I bet there's all sorts of interesting things. We could just walk around anywhere near here and see something more interesting than this. I don't know why the hell we have to dig here. And so like slides down it, heads to the riverbank, wades in it for a little bit. Seems to be making not even pretending to really work particularly hard. Clarissa seems to have just like put a red mark next to his name and not push the issue any further.
Oh, I'd really like to go for a swim, but I don't want that red mark. Otherwise, I'm here for another year. Yeah, that's all good.
All right.
Digging.
Keep digging. Okay. All right. You keep working steadily. And let's go and have a look at the other team. So, Seb, you were heading to the sheriff. Is that right? That's the closest thing. So let's do that. As you walk down towards the sheriff section, you can see there is a car parked just out the front of it. It's a large truck. You notice it's got like the cage across the back so that like anyone like criminals sorts could be put in the back seat and wouldn't be able to interfere with the driver. Additionally, you notice that there is no one looming at the window this time, where you saw Jimmy, the town drunk, there previously. He seems to not be present. As you head up towards the door, you can see it is open and propped with like an old boot or something. And inside, the sheriff is seated at a desk, working over some paperwork, and the deputy is in another corner of the room, just talking idly with what looks like someone's mother, you know, some local woman who's got some issue or another. He's just talking to her. What do you want to do?
I would like to go up and politely, knock on the door, and when I am addressed, if I am addressed, ask to speak to the deputy.
Okay.
Ready at the moment.
You look as you knock. The sheriff looks up, glowers, and then like harumphs to get the deputy's attention, who looks up and says, "Yeah, just a moment." He wraps up what he's doing as you wait for a few minutes, and then the woman thanks him, steps up, grabs a little handbag, and moves past you. I'm like, "Bless you. Have a good day," and then shimmies out, and you can step inside and take a seat across from the deputy at his desk. You can see he's got like some papers and things. He's got a couple of like local awards and things, but as you look closer, they appear to be for like the local sack race and stuff. Like, it's just fun community stuff that he probably puts there just to like, personable things. As you sit down, he leans back and he just goes, "So, how can I help you, Mr. McCarthy?"
Deputy Cutter, it's lovely. Thank you again for showing us around your delightful town yesterday. I was here because you mentioned Ms. Bellwether yesterday, and she's a little out of town, as I understand. We were hoping to potentially get an interview with her if she is amenable to that idea, but we don't have access to a vehicle to take us out, so I was wondering if there was anyone you could recommend that we speak to in order to organize such a thing.
Yeah, hey, she's an hour or so out. She very rarely comes into town. I don't think I've seen her myself in a period or so. Check in at the general store. I think they have an arrangement to bring out groceries to her every week or so. If things line up, you might be able to hitch a ride out with them, but it'd be a quick turnaround. You'd want to, if you offer them a bit of cash, I'm sure they'll be willing to wait around for a bit while you conduct your interviews. That should work out
Fantastic.
for you fine.
Thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, hey, not an
Appreciate
issue.
it as always.
Well, you guys have a good day in town, and don't get up to any trouble.
We won't if we can help it.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir. And I'll get up and leave.
Perfect. You
Small
head back
town
out.
manners.
Yeah. You You head back out onto the street. You can see that Gibbons has posted himself up in the diner very happily. He's got a banana sundae he couldn't jump over. And seated across from him is a young couple who seem to be telling him something. He, around a mouthful of like banana and cream, pulls around his paper, passes it to them, and has them take notes on their own story. He then leans back and continues. Where do you want to head next?
Legend.
I'm gonna go and speak to Dr. Perry.
Okay. Katie, as you head up towards the library, you're following on the heels of Trent, who seems to be almost like nervous about it. He didn't notice you at first, but then he whirled around, saw you behind him, and did that like slightly awkward thing where he's walking just fast enough that like you could almost pass him if you were a little faster, but not quite. So now you're just following him through things, and anytime you gain on him close enough you could have a conversation, he thinks that's awkward, so he picks up the pace a little bit, and you have this awkward little running motion as you head towards the library, and he just keeps thinking he's being followed.
Oh, I always mention I'm gonna try and out nerd this guy. So I do things like I slow down at some point, so he feels like he's abandoning me if he goes too far forward, and has to slow down a bit, which makes me feel like I have to hurry to catch up to him. It's a horrible trick. The whole thing just awful.
It was terrible. Okay. Yeah, you finish this awful work. He gets to the door. As he gets to the town library, it's this beautiful old building, clearly labeled, and it doesn't look like it's particularly well used. You can see the windows are thick panes of glass with a bit of dirt and grime built up on them, and stacked inside them are just books in piles. It doesn't look like it's going to be particularly well organized. As he gets to the door, he pushes it open, realizes you're too far away to hold it open for you, but then he looked back and made eye contact, so now he does hold the door open for you, but you're way too far away for it to be suitable. I
very visibly try to speed up to accommodate him, but as I go forward, I drop some of my books and have to stand down and pick them all up. Does he stand there, or is he going to come and help me?
No, he realizes you've dropped them, so he lets the door loose and walks down, but by the time he gets down the steps, you've picked up most of them, so he turns and tries to catch the door to hold it open, trips a little bit, just manages to catch it, and holds it open again for you to come inside.
He wins this round, but I'll get him. I head inside.
I don't know. It seems like they were made for each other. Can I ship Katie and Trent?
Yes is the answer.
As you get inside, you pass Trent, who mumbles like, "Good to see you."
Thank you. Chat ships them too. Yes.
You both go inside and take in the sights of the Cobb's Corners Public Library. It's a single-story wooden building, very well worn, and inside is just chaos. The shelves have been filled long ago, and they've just resorted to stacking books on chairs and couches and things. There's very little walking room, and you have to like pick your way through the piles of books. And looking around, you're not entirely sure what ordering system they use, or if they have one, so much as just books in places. That said, it does seem to have a lot of books inside here. There is a small desk off to one side, seated behind which is this miserable looking youth. She's a girl, maybe like 14, with dark, greasy hair, which like hangs around, like very young and not quite comfortable yet. She's got a face pockmarked by acne, and as you come inside and have that whole awkward little entry thing, she looks at you and she just goes like, and goes back to looking at things underneath. The other thing that
says everything, doesn't it? The librarian is cooler than us.
Then the actual librarian comes around, and she is the archetypical librarian. She's this sweet-looking older woman with grey hair up in a bun and glasses down, like just towards her nose. And as you come inside and very quietly have like the "thank you, you're welcome," she goes, "Shh." And then she steps forward and walks towards the two of you. She looks over at you and she goes, "And how can I be of assistance to the two of you today?"
I will motion for Trent to go first, because I don't want to be rude and bowl over him.
He looks between the two of you, panics a little bit, and goes,
Okay. Well, and I'll step forward. I'm hoping that I can go through some of your books. I'm with the university expedition, and I'm hoping to get some information on local folklore.
Oh, yes. Well, local folklore, we have it in abundance. I can find you some things. Are you looking to check books out or just read and study here?
I think I'll likely check some out as well, but I'd like to spend a few hours here reading and studying as well, if that's all right.
Okay, well, if you check things out, we will need to set you up with a card or something. So I'll have you talk to Amanda here, who will be very happy to help you out, won't you, Amanda? Who goes, ugh. You wanted to find some books on local history, is that right?
So I have a whole plan, right? I've gotten. So I have the thoughts of the actual tasks that I've been sent here to do have almost been completely driven from my head. I am, ostensibly I'm on the geology team, but I'm here to try and figure out what that thing was in the woods. I think that ostensibly what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to get together a bunch of local folklore, and I'm going to say that I spent my time building a background on the local folklore through which we can then compare and contrast the stories that come from all of the different people. So that's the work is done. I'm ticking that box. Mm-hmm. But in reality, what I would like to do, I have seen now this child who drew a picture of these trees, and they were not seen with malice or being frightening. They were seen as kind of nice. And I have also seen this thing, wandering out there that wanted to know why I had arrived. It didn't seem necessarily immediately hostile, although it did seem dangerous. There's also these stories of missing students. I have enough to think that something weird is going on. And the angle I'd like to go from here is like protector spirits or something, like local guardians, nature guardians or something like that.
Okay.
And I am going to dive in. I'm happy to roll with occults if you would like, but I'm going to try and figure out what that was.
Okay, all right. And you're pretty happy to like post up here for a while, is that my impression?
I am going to be here all day going through this, and if I can't find anything there, I'll start going from like angles of, okay, maybe it was somebody. Can I get like high school photo books of people and see if I can pick who that person was? I'm just full on researching everyone.
Okay.
And everything.
If you're willing to commit the day to it, then you will definitely get some information. It will be a scaled success for a library use roll.
Sure.
So you can take a bonus dice with the librarian's assistance. But that is noting that she is getting you all of the books, and so she's very much aware of what she's giving you.
Yep.
And additionally, as she begins to go through it, you will immediately realize this place is so chaotic, you'd actually have a penalty dice without her help, because she seems to be the only one that knows where anything is located throughout here.
Sure.
You also will notice that Trent is going to post up here for the full day, and he too is going into local history. Although, as he looks over at one point, you can see him looking at him, he goes, boop, and hides behind his book. As he props it up, you can see it's about local occult things, especially actually about the larger Vermont, New Hampshire area, about like witchcraft and things seems to be his personal interest.
Well, I've absolutely got to talk to him about that. That seems like an obvious thing, but I've said what I'm going to be doing, and at some point in the day, I'll chat to him if we want to leave things there for the moment.
Perfect. All right. Do you want to go and give me a library use roll with a bonus dice?
Absolutely. Coming up. All right. Library use 1. If there was ever a roll to succeed. Okay, 38.
You've rolled pretty well so far.
Yep, and the second one, that is a failure, but I am going to give you 13 points of luck.
You had a bonus dice. You had a bonus dice, so you're all good.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, but I want a hard success.
Oh, right, yes, okay.
Yep, no I'm going to luck it 13 points to a hard success.
Okay, hard success. Okay, all right. You cast yourself into studying here for the day, and we'll come back to you and go into that further. Okay. Back up on the dig site.
Can I interject before we get there?
Yeah,
to note that it's about half an hour left in our session today, and if you've just joined,
thank you, Jax.
You probably should be typing exclamation harvest into the chat right about now.
Thank you very much, Jackson.
You're going to go in the draw for our very special start of campaign giveaway. for a couple. Is it was a PDF copy of the?
It's a
of the...
PDF copy of A Time to Harvest, and we will be doing 2 drawings today. Exclamation mark harvest to enter, and you have the opportunity to win more later on in the campaign. So stay tuned.
That's right. And the drawing will be at the end of the session, and we will contact you via Twitch and things. So I think we'll send like a friend request from the Chaosium account, and we'll get all that squared away.
Very important.
Thank you, Jackson. Okay. All right, back up on the dig site. You've spent the day, discovering things and making yourself very visibly discovering things. You found what looks to be like a child's ring game or something, which definitely shows that there was previous activity here. And it's, in reasonable condition. As you drove the hammer down, or, the chisel or whatever to find it, you didn't smash it to pieces. And Clarissa seems fairly impressed with what you've found. You've also found several pieces of ore and different, resources and things, which Clarissa has posted up and is going through and just testing all of them. When you get to a natural point like lunchtime or whatever, where you're all taking a break, Higgins is on the other side of the stream, having stripped out down to his jocks and swum across, and he's now going and looking through the nearby woods, just seeing if he can find anything of note. When you're sitting with Clarissa and with Block. As you're posted there, Block's beginning to complain. He's going man, Blaine was supposed to be back here by now. I mean, we're sitting around here digging in the stinking heat. We got no shade or anything, and we're supposed to have some assistance. Lazy bastards just sent us to this area. I mean, there's nothing much of import we found. What did you find, Dedrick? A ring toss game or something? That seems hardly worth the whole expedition down here. I mean, we should be finding cool shit. This is a waste of everyone's time.
Why? What did you think we were going to find? What were you told?
I don't know. I mean, the last team that came down here got a whole lot of awards and shit. I mean, Learmont's basically made his name off the last expedition. There must have been something out here that they found of interest. I don't know why we're digging in a place they've already searched before. It seems like a waste of time. And Clarissa will she doesn't try and cast aspersions, but she just go, it does seem like there could be better places to be looking.
Yeah, but what's the science stuff you got going on there? There was that big companies paying us to come out here, right? We're looking around for minerals and stuff for some mining company. It's the big money that talks, right?
So what, you think we're supposed to be looking for these minerals is more important? Little rocks and things?
That's what I reckon. I mean, if the university is getting money just for look for some rocks, then they could have tacked on this history nonsense.
Again, but why the hell are we back here looking in the same spot again? They would have already surveyed this area and ticked it, yay or nay. Besides, I don't think we found anything new or anything. Nothing to note. I found a bit of quartz, a little bit of gold, maybe bits and pieces. He lists a whole bunch of minerals. He's actually quite proficient at it. But nothing to note. See that list anyway. And he begins to go over the checklist that Clarissa's been given for what they're looking for mineral wise, what tests. He looks at it and he goes, "These don't make any sense. This doesn't. I mean, these tests don't work. Nothing's gonna pass this." Doesn't matter what mineral it is, it won't pass those tests. They gave us some sham shit. This ain't gonna work.
What?
Yeah, the test is broken.
What do you mean?
It's that nothing's gonna pass that. It don't work. It wants it to be incredibly flexible, strong, the whole bit. Nothing's gonna pass that. There ain't nothing that does it.
All right, so what are we doing out here?
Wasting our damn time. Blaine's off there snooping or doing whatever the hell. I mean, he's a creepy bastard. You've seen how he looks at Clarissa, haven't you? I mean, dude's just weird.
All right. So what do? We go off on our own, try another spot, make a bigger name for ourselves if we find something cool?
I don't know. I just think we gotta... Tomorrow we gotta change something. We gotta go deeper, dig somewhere else. It really forward out. We should be scanning the whole area. If they actually want us to find some minerals, we should be doing small, isolated digs. We shouldn't be posted up in one spot, scanning for artifacts.
All right. Well, maybe Higgins found something down by the stream.
Maybe. I mean, just dicking around mostly. Sure, hell, we get Higgins! And Higgins looks up and begins to make the long trek back towards it. Clarissa seems like she's just gonna... She just needs the credit, so she's like, look, we need to do what we said, but that said, this is weird. This doesn't really seem like the best use of our time being here, just searching the one area. By the time Higgins gets back, he goes so, did you find any good minerals or whatever you were looking for? Anything fun?
No. What'd you find?
Cool shit. What'd you find? You want to swap?
No, Yeah, we asked you first. What'd you find?
Fine. Look, come with me. Come on, quick.
Well, all right.
You're gonna have to swim across though.
Watch me.
You head down towards the waterline. Clarissa's not going to come with. She wants to continue doing the digging. And Block also stays there helping her. So the two of you get down towards the edge. He wades out into the water and then begins to swim carefully across to a point where there is an overhang. Do you just walk straight across or like wade across fully dressed, or is it a more elegant?
Were you going to make a swim roll?
No,
Now I'm
there's
concerned.
no
That's
pressure
all
or
right then.
anything. It seems to be pretty safe.
No, yeah. I'll strip down a little bit just to show off the pecs.
Bow. Yep.
Yeah, and jump in.
Okay. You make your way across, and soon you're on the other side, standing with Higgins. When he'd made his way over, he'd basically just like wandered around, just having a look, trying to get out of the sun. He'd come to an overhang, which as he takes you to, he points out there are like scratchings and things in them, and he points out and he goes, "Those are petroglyphs, you know, like little marks left from like, you know, people ages ago and such. And I don't know what the hell they're supposed to be, but something weird, right?" And as he points them out, now you step forward and you look a little closer. They seem to be depicting... Actually, do you have any relevant skills? Do you have any archaeology or anything, first of all?
I doubt it. No.
Okay, then. So can you give me a... Do you have natural world?
I think, no.
Give me a natural world roll or history, either one, and we'll just treat it as. But you'll get some base information. This will just be extra.
Yeah, I got nothing. Let us be clear. Chaz is not
You're here to
a good
lift
student.
things.
The rolls can work. I've made a navigate and a natural world
things you just have
success
no
on
skills
base. Yeah.
I've tried everything I'm skilled in and I failed at all of them.
Oh.
All right, let's see what this does. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. No further information, but what you see is there is what looks like a scene of a number of people armed with bows and arrows taking aim at winged things moving through the sky, and they're quite large, bigger than birds or anything like that. And they're also drawn, like, it's the way they do this, they basically chip off the top layer of the stone to leave the marks. So it's kind of hard to see what's just worn with age and what was the original design. But they seem to be taking fire at something in the sky, moving up and above them. Higgins looks between it and you and goes, "Cool, right?"
That's freaking... It's not bad.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
we should, next time we get up here, we should bring the camera. Get some snapshots. That's extra credit, right?
Yeah.
In fact,
yeah.
that's and then we get some snapshots of that, and then we go back to town. We ask for some stories, right? I can jump on the story team because I signed up for both. Don't tell no one. I jump on the story team, ask around about these. I get credit for both expeditions.
Hey, that's actually really smart. Has anyone told you that you might actually be good at this? I mean, that's not... Chaz, that's not cheating. That's genuine work. That's how you should do this. That's clever. Yeah.
Well, not enough. Not enough people, that's for sure.
Well, let me be the first then. No, well done. Right then, so camera tomorrow. We'll come back to the same part and get some snaps.
Yeah.
All right.
I like this.
Awesome. Good. Yeah. Great. Grand. All right. Let's push back then. And the two of you make your way back across the river to rejoin the others. Okay. Back in... sorry, is there anything else you want to be doing, Chaz? Anything specific, or do you just continue working? Is there anything you want to be looking for, talking about,
Yeah.
etc.?
No, yeah, I don't like this, that the mineral tests are just bumpkus. Is that a Boston word? I don't know.
Bumpkus?
Doesn't sound like it. Yeah. Yeah. I think we let's finish the day, right? Let's not ruffle any feathers. Let's pretend like we're doing what we're told, but if we get back up here, let's not do the same spot. This is ridiculous.
Blocks very
I
much.
think you're
on your
onto
team.
something, Clarissa. Yeah.
Okay. You also did, like, as they were passing around the checklist, you did have a quick look at it, and you could have gone, "Oh yeah, this is rubbish." It's gibberish to you. You just can't interpret it unless you have a hidden geology skill that I'm not aware of.
Nah, it's just science mumba jumba.
Mumba jumba. All right. You keep working with the rest, and you fulfill your daily requirement. And again, you do genuine work, so you have actually contributed. So well done. There is no sign of Blaine. He doesn't come back. Not throughout the
When was he
day
meant
and not
to?
through. Yeah, he was supposed to be checking in between both teams in theory, and he just doesn't show up again until like lunch comes and goes, and you're getting towards the point where you're just gonna be picked up so you can return. Sticking hot throughout the day. You've drained through most of your water. You eat your food, and you don't have any like backup supplies or anything. So the whole thing's a little like you got kind of screwed out here. He really should have come back and helped you out more.
Oh, yikes. What about the, I've already forgotten his name, the truck driver?
Harlow. Yeah.
Harlow, did he stay with us?
No, he drove Blaine back into town.
Oh,
Back
that's
down,
right.
or
yeah,
back
of
down to
course.
the bus at least. Yeah. So no, he
Yep.
is not here.
Interesting.
Curious.
All right. Screw that guy.
Yeah. All right. Back in town. Seb, where did you want to go?
I would like to go and see the doctor.
Okay. All
He
right.
was one of the people that was listed to us as has the town stories.
Definitely. All right. So you head to find Dr. Owen Perry's office. It is a little building just in the center of. Actually, no, it's kind of off to the edge. Look at that. Off to the edge of town, which is his combination office and home. He lives on the second story, and the first story has both just like pediatrician, like where you just like go and get like general stuff. There is also a small surgical theater, although anything of significance, they would ship people via ambulance into Brattleboro. And below ground, there is the town's small morgue, where they keep the dead temporarily before burying them in the church graveyard. As you get to the door and knock on it, shifting your weight and waiting for someone to approach, you can hear shuffling footsteps from inside. A chain slides across the door where it was kept locked, and then from the other side, you hear, yes? Who is it?
Dr. Perry, my name is Sebastian McCarthy. I'm with the Miskatonic University team. We're here taking interviews for those folks who are willing to give them.
In interviews, what kind of interviews? What questions are you asking?
About the history of the town, the sort of local folklore, anything like that, just trying to get a general sense of the town and its history.
Folklore stories, mythological in intent, occult, strange things, goings on?
Of that manner, yeah. I mean, history. Most towns have their stories, and that's part of what makes up the folklore of the town. It makes it what it is. So, yes, exactly that.
The door opens, and standing inside is an older man with white hair, a fairly concerned look in his eyes, and his hair's beginning to get like that, like quite fair, and sort of fluffs up, and he keeps it brushed down. He's well dressed, and he looks a little bit insulted as you open the door. He goes, Are you mocking me, Mr. McCarthy? Did someone put you up to this? Do you think this is a game? Is this that reporter's doing? Is it Wendell? Did he send you here? You think this is funny?
No, Mr. Wendell, now that I think of it, does seem like the type who might do that, but no, it was Deputy Cutter who mentioned that you specifically might have some good knowledge about the history of the town and the stories of the locals.
Oh, so he sends you here, but when I have a thought of a complaint, something I'd like investigated, it's dismissed out of hand. Rubbish. He said, hokum.
I'm sorry to hear that. I was not aware of that. But look, I did not mean to bother you. If you do not wish to talk to me, I can certainly leave you well enough alone. Your name was just down as one person who I could potentially talk to and who seemed knowledgeable, but I will not take up your time, Dr. Perry, if you do not wish to speak to me.
What are your credentials? What do you stand to gain? This is for school?
For the Miskatonic University expedition. Similar to last year's, although hopefully fewer of us go missing.
As you say, similar to last year's, his eyes flash a little bit, and he goes, "You're related to the same expedition as last time."
Yes, the same professors are heading this expedition. Correct.
And And you're asking about local stories. You should come in. Come in. He opens the door a little bit further and ushers you into the cold on the interior. He walks you back to like past a like a general seating area and into what is probably where he like sees patients. He sits down in one of those spinning chairs, and you sit down on the little like the fold back thingy where people can be inspected. It's mercifully cold inside, and he gets a tall jug of water, which he seats in front of you. To set this up on the right foot, can you give me a social roll to kind of show how you're going about this and how you're presenting yourself? Persuade being like, you know, just trying to get the story out of him, being very real. Charm being if you're trying to like be friendly and ease it out of him.
I have both persuade and charm, and they're pretty close. So
up to you how you want to. Up to you. How do you go forward?
I think for this one, I'm gonna try and be charming.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, perhaps I'll lean more on persuasion. But for right now, I'm just trying to be amicable.
Okay. All right. You're able
Seb
to
is
like
moderately charming.
yeah, you're able to kind of put him at ease. You can see that he's clearly a fairly like nervous or concerned individual. But you're able to kind of like, you know, you accept the drink because you think that might make him feel like he's helping a little bit, and then you just kind of like ease him into it, and you let him kind of talk at his own pace. As he sits down, he says, so the previous group that went through, they went missing. Do you know, has anything more come to light? I know one body was found, but the others, they were never seen? Not that you know.
No, nothing I'm aware of, Dr. Barry. Although I must admit, I am curious, as I'm sure you understand, unsolved mysteries and what have you.
He steps up and he walks pacing around the room, and then he stops in front of a window looking down the streets, and with a very dramatic motion grabs the curtains and draws them closed so that the light doesn't filter inside. There's the little like the bulb up above, and he paces again, rubbing at the bridge of his nose, and he goes, I am a medical man. I trained in New York, and I very practiced. I've seen explainable things. Yeah, go on.
I might just which school specifically? My mother is a doctor.
Oh, he lists one that I don't know.
No, sorry, it's just very much.
It probably wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the same one unless you want to make a luck roll to see if it is. But more likely, it's one of similar.
In New York.
Oh, okay.
MU, but just like, she's a good enough doctor that it's that thing of like small world.
Yes, and you'd recognize it as being like a very, a well-received place. It's not like one of the greats, but it is a very competent medical facility, and you would have had to have some skill to go there, and graduating from it is like a kudos, good job you. He paces back and forth. He says, I am an intelligent man. I've seen things that I can explain, but ever since I came here, I've been suspicious of those around us, of those that walk in the skin of others. I see you. Do you believe, Mr. McCarthy, that the dead can rise and that they can walk?
I do not disbelieve it, Dr. Perry.
You think I'm a fool? You think I'm a fool? You came here for a medical man, and I give you this gibbering nonsense. It's nothing. I apologize. I've wasted your time.
Dr. Perry, I came here for folklore and for stories of the town. Your eminence as a medical professional lends credence to anything that you have to tell me, but I came here for stories. If you have stories to share, I will note them down. I'm not here to judge you on the stories. I'm here to merely take notes.
Stories. Yes, it's stories. Funny what truth can be hidden in stories. I don't want my name on this. I don't want this could have me mocked more so than I am for the few that I spoke to, but I
will make a note that this will be recorded as anonymous.
I will tell you what I have observed. No more guesses. No more conclusions drawn. I'm not like that reporter. I will tell you what I observed, and you tell me what conclusions could be drawn. When I first came back here, I trained abroad. I only returned recently, but I was born here. I inherited this office from Miss Bellwether, who served as the town's medical officer for some time. She was competent, but she was archaic. She works with older practices that are no longer suitable. I thought that's strange, but small towns, what can you do? Things were normal for a time until I was called in. A local man, Mr. James McLearen, Jimmy, I think he goes by. He's not well. Hasn't been for some time, ever since his wife died. Her body, he wanted to see it again. He believed she was calling to him or something similar, so he threw himself into the graveyard and he dug up the box that she was buried in. And inside they found a calf, broken, folded to fit in the crate, and buried. And, might I add, drained of blood. Now that's not the first instance. I know what you're thinking. A mistake, maybe? A chaotic instance? There's more. I checked records. Miss Bellwether, for one thing, she kept good records. People have died here far more regularly than they should. The young people, the young adults of the town, they're recently graduated. They're not well. They die under peculiar instances, and regularly they're found, and they don't have all of their blood. Their blood, Mr. McCarthy. You can see where one would draw conclusions, but one mustn't. A scientific mind. I'll only tell you the facts. I was called out to a case. A young girl, 18, recently moved home to help on the farm. Died in a barn. Slipped, presumably, impaled on a rake. Blood everywhere. I took the poor girl back. We dressed her, made her ready to present at the church for her mother's farewell and her father's. Curious, as I'd noted recent and other examples of strange happenings, I returned to the barn on my own time. I took a sample of the blood that was spilled and found it was not human. It was pig's blood. Why would someone put the wrong blood next to a young girl's corpse? Why would they do that?
I suppose the logical conclusion would be that she did not die from being impaled so much as she died from exsanguination, and they wanted it to look like something else.
No conclusions, only events. That is what I have witnessed. He seems to have like a weight taken off his chest, especially when you don't immediately like mock him for it. And he turns back to pacing, and then as he gets to like the curtain, he draws it back a little, like peeks outside to the town below, where you can hear like kids running, kicking a soccer ball back and forth.
Dr. Perry.
Yes.
The deputy suggested, actually the deputy told me two things that I would very much appreciate your advice on, if you would be so kind.
Yes.
Firstly, he mentioned that we might have some luck speaking to Miss Bellwether about folklore and the like. Do you believe that this is worth our time?
Whatever happened, I only stumbled into. I've only been serving here for a year and a little more. Miss Bellwether was here much longer. If there were patterns, she must have detected them.
Thank you. My second question is that the deputy mentioned that the local church has only very recently started again. That it had been closed for 3 years prior.
That's right, I think.
Do you know why?
I don't. I'm sorry. No one willing to serve as a pastor out here, I suppose.
That seems like a logical conclusion to draw. Well, thank you for that. Your name will be expunged from
Yes.
any records.
Yes.
Would you perhaps... There's a telephone line out to where we're staying. Should anything similar occur, or if there is anything else that you think of, would you be so kind as to call and let me know?
Yes, I can. I can call you if something occurs, but I'm. Yes, if something presents itself, I can call. He gives you a number, and he exchanges his as well. Just on the off chance that you need medical assistance as well, it's probably good to have the local doctor's number. And with that, he begins to like open up the blinds and get ready for you to leave. He clearly is like kind of wants to be. A weight's been lifted a little bit, but now he feels a little like almost ashamed. I don't know. He seems to be kind of like off put.
I'm not sure I can honestly say I believe the dead walk, Dr. Perry. I do not disbelieve what you have told me, not at all. But one of my companions saw something unnerving in the woods the other night. And her description did not make it seem like your average living man.
Be safe. Lock your doors, and I'll contact you. But best no one hears of this, and nothing further. I don't wish to draw attention to myself any further. I don't want to be involved with this. The sooner.
Of course. Would you happen to have any tinctures for sleepwalking?
Something to put someone to sleep.
Yes, I believe it would be most advisable if everyone believed the little episode last night was nothing more than a sleepwalking hallucination.
Yeah, if someone comes to talk to me, I can prescribe something if it's suitable, but I can't just give it to you, I'm afraid.
Of course. I will send the young lady on her way, should she have need.
Yes, very well. And don't mention what we've discussed more than...
No.
Very good. He walks you to the door, and you can see that there's like newly installed locks on it. And as you leave, he looks both ways and clicks the door shut behind you. Well, as you leave.
I will head back in the direction of the library to meet up with Miss Wilkes.
Okay, perfect. All right then. So, Katie, you're still posted up in the library, and have been digging through things over the course of the day. You've learned some general history of the region. It was founded when people headed from the east, heading west, and looking for new territory to settle in about, I think it was like 1787. There it is, found the date. When it was set up. And has been occupied since. There are a few things of note, just the minor stuff. You'll get some more later as you spend the full day. For one, this place has been very successful in... It is very successful in its production of like produce, corn and things that they grow nearby, sell very well, and it's been quite profitable. Checking records, this is not always held true. It began some 100 or so years ago, about halfway through the town's lifetime, that it began to do a lot better for itself. And it has previously been remarked that this seems to be more successful than would be indicated by the region's rocky soil. It is occasionally referred to as the breadbasket of Vermont. Additionally, and this is what you're just looking through and beginning to like confirm when Sebastian meets with you, there is a curiously high death rate in this town, particularly with young adults. Around 16 to 20, far more die than would be typical of a region. Now, that said, they do often work on farms and things, so there's more circumstances for accidents and stuff to happen. But just looking at it from numbers alone, and Katie knows numbers, this is disproportionately high, especially even when compared to like other rural communities in the region and elsewhere. And you're just beginning to go through this and put it together when Sebastian meets with you, and the two of you can meet outside for a little bit as you're taking a short break. And I'll leave it in your hands.
Miss Wilkes, how are you faring?
Good. I found some interesting things just to start with. I need to have a talk. Mr. Trent's inside, and he has a book I need to take from him, but I haven't quite worked up the courage to ask for it. But anyway, do you know the death rate in this town is quite substantial?
I had heard something to that effect, but how substantial are we talking?
Well, it's the value of the statistical anomaly is high enough that it cannot be a coincidence.
Probability close to 1, I see.
Yes.
Well, do these records detail like whether or not there were injuries sustained?
I'm working on it. I hope to have a clearer picture of everything a little later in the day.
If anyone was likely to be good at actuarial studies, I would put that to you, Miss Wilkes.
Well, thank you very much. I'm getting through a lot of work. I hope that yeah. How you spoke to the deputy? How did that go? Is there a car that'll take us up to see?
There is no car specifically, although there is a grocery delivery that goes once a week that we may be able to hijack for our needs. So that is potentially what I'm looking to talk to someone at the general store about. You said there was a book that Mr. Trent was looking at that you wanted to get a hold of?
Yes, but I need to have a word with him anyway. I can get a hold of it. No, never mind. He's looking into some folklore aspects that I also want to take a look at. I'm trying to figure out what I saw out there at night. I don't think it was sleepwalking. I tell you this despite the mockery I'm sure it's going to bring from all the others. There was a man out there, and he didn't look right at all. Skin hanging off his face.
Could you do me a favor, Miss Wilkes? You have an eye for detail. Can you let me know how many of these unexpected deaths resulted from accidents and injuries that would have seen a lot of bloodshed?
Sure, of course.
Getting an arm stuck in a combine harvester, being impaled on something. Falling injuries, not so much, unless there was something on the end of that fall that made it particularly gruesome.
Is this are you working on a theory?
Consider me morbidly curious.
Okay. Well, suppose I have my own curiosity. All right, certainly. All right, I'll take a look.
Thank you, Miss Wilkes. Oh, and before I forget, I probably should get my jacket back off you this evening, if that's all right.
No, yes, I have it here, and I'll open one of my many bags and hand it to you.
Thank you. We'll put it in my own backpack. I'll make Laszlo iron it later.
Well, good luck. I should get back to it then.
Of course. I think I'll stop by the general store before we're done for the day, but do give Mr. Trent my regards, Miss Wilkes.
Yes, I will. Thank you, and I'll take my leave. Okay. Blowing straight through lunch. Too much work to do.
All right. So, as Katie heads back inside and continues her study, having uncovered some strange but mathematically significant trends over the short lifetime of Cobb's Corners, and Sebastian heads down to the grocer to secure a ride to meet with Agnes Bellwether, the old woman claimed by some to be a witch, who surely will have most stories for the reason. As Chaz Dedrick continues to help the surveying of the region that's looking for a resource that does not exist and has carvings in the rocks of something that should not be real, the day gets later and a storm begins to build in the skies overhead. Soon, night will fall and all of you will reconvene, but we will pick that up next session as we resolve day 2 of the field trip and look towards the night when things go bump. So cheers guys for playing. We'll park it there and pick it up next time. And Jim.
Yes.
Why don't you take us
Let's
away?
talk about enter if you haven't already.
Short minutes, yep.
Yes, fantastic. Oh, also thank you, Dave, for an awesome session, and thank you,
Dave.
chat, for hanging around.
Thank you,
it's
chat.
the big moment. It's the reveal. Let's see who is going to win our 2 copies of Time to Harvest. Okay, fantastic. And we're just giving people one more moment. Remember, exclamation mark harvest. Now is your chance.
Actually,
All
got his
right.
handy sticky note.
All right, and 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
Commando
Oh, it posts
Solo
it. That's so handy.
193
Da, da, da,
has
da, da.
won
Oh, we know they're in the
away.
chat because they just talked. Congratulations, Commando
Fantastic.
Solo.
All right, brilliant. And we will now be rolling out number 2 with 3, 2, 1.
Wyverns are cool.
Wyverns are
We saw them
cool.
posting earlier as well. Fantastic.
They
And they're
sure
right.
are.
Wyverns are. Why you don't
Wyverns
need that
are
many
pretty
legs.
cool.
Evans are pretty awesome.
Commander Solo and Wyverns are cool. All right, fantastic. I will be getting in contact with you through the Chaosium Inc. Twitch channel, and we will sort out getting you your copies of the PDF. Remember, there will be further opportunities to win additional copies of the PDF as we continue through the adventure, so tune back in next time.
That's right. Now you can look at all the secrets, spoil things for yourselves, run it at your own table. What options are available? How tremendous content.
How many things do us as unwitting investigators
Blindside
just fucking
pass.
miss? Yeah, oh, that was a thing we just utterly did not realize. Brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so we will all that will be coordinated through the Twitch, the Chaosium Inc. Twitch channel. So look for a message there. But apart from that, thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in and joining us in chat. If you're watching on YouTube in the future, thank you for watching there. That's tremendous as well. We will be live again next Friday, and we hope so much that you will join us. So, see you in a week.